listening to Moonhawk Studios Presents, I hope. Oh my god, it's a show.
Uh-oh, somebody didn't put up Tank Limit Break 3, Divine Justice.
A show, is that what they're calling it nowadays?
Not a clusterfuck.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
So, welcome to another edition of Moonhawk Studios Presents Abridged.
Soon, my friend, soon.
I'm your host, Mac Paladin, and thank God something's working around here. With me in the studio is my good friend, as always, Adam.
So we're only doing this for 30 minutes then?
Well, I don't know. It depends on if people get tired. We'll see how it goes. If anybody starts snoring, we'll cut it off. Damn you, ogre!
That was me and
You
Petty
kind of
Fan.
walked into that one, didn't you?
I did.
Left the
All
door
right, well-
open and we walked straight in.
Speaking of, we've got Petty Fan.
I did my job. Also, I fucked up my job.
The Galax is here.
I am.
Him
Or at
and
least
his
part
hat.
of me is.
Him and his hat.
Mm-hmm.
Twilight Winter is kicking it in the hizzy.
I hope we don't die from laughter.
And, yeah, Ogre's here.
More like pass out from laughter.
Oh my god. I don't even know what's going on anymore, so let's just start this damn thing rolling here. Adam, regale me with the news.
Like, the news consists of moving shit. Like, fucking spring cleaning. Like, yeah, had to help my mother clean out some shit. Like, need her tool shed reorganized. She was getting rid of some stuff. That was fun. By fun, I mean extremely tedious. Like, but at least it's over and done. And that's all I got this week.
Okay. Let's change things up a little bit. Twilight Winter, what have you got?
My past few days has also consisted of moving stuff from our upstairs attic.
Oh boy.
Yeah, been reminding me quite well of how much we are pack rats.
Well, that's better than my boss, who apparently has actual pack rats in his engine compartment.
Fun.
Yeah.
Then, anything we didn't need, we've been burning it. And speaking of burning, somebody assumed their cigarette that they tossed out their car window set one of our heels on fire.
Oh my.
So, it wasn't a big one, but still, it was enough to get the wildlife people to take a look at it this morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's some hot news right there. Okay.
Besides that, been playing games, and that's about it.
Okay. All right, I'll let you off the hook. Petty Fan, get in it.
Well, I guess a bit of a programming update.
Let's hear it.
May 10th, we will have Jesse Cox. He's a Let's Player on YouTube on the show.
All right.
And I am in talks with another entity, which I will not name in case they decide to drop out.
Or verbally drop you on your head for announcing it prematurely.
Exactly. I wait till I have stuff confirmed.
Specialifications.
Yeah.
There we go.
And I've also been putting more feelers out, so yay.
This is good. We're gonna get into a groove again. In the meantime, I will attempt to entertain the masses with my inane BS.
In more personal news, it's been so wet I need to mow the yard, but I can't because I'm afraid the lawnmower would actually sink into the mud.
Oh man, I fucking hate it when it gets like that.
Oh yeah, no shit.
Rad. That is rad.
Yeah. So it's like that's been a thing.
Come here, dudes. Let's
I have-
interrupt the news with a cat status report here. Hello, Kitty.
Kitty's like, Daddy, no.
Doodles. It's like, I don't like where your hand is, and you need to move it immediately. Oh my God, phrasing.
Outside of that, today I had to take my CPAP machine in to be serviced because it was making a weird whistling noise.
I'm using it so much, it wore out. Wait.
It better not be. I've had it for just over 6 months. But yeah, luckily it was just that it was an issue with the mask, and I had to get that swapped out anyway, so it was nothing major.
All right.
Outside of that, playing games for the show and whatnot. Well, the other show.
I never thought I'd hear the day when all of you guys would be complaining about how much work it is to play video games.
First world problems, am I right?
I've
when
been
Life
saying
is
that.
weird sometimes.
Yeah, well, I mean, we play a lot of games on the show. We play like
Yeah.
on average 2 games a week, and you know that's like at least 50, 60 games per year.
And
I,
a lot of them are not small games.
I just thought it was funny because I said pretty much that exact same thing to Keith a little bit earlier. I was at Nico's taco shop here in Tucson, getting my evening breakfast burrito, and I commented to him. I said, you know, I've become somewhat addicted to their salsa verde taco sauce. So it's gotten to the point to where every time I go there, I like palm 3 or 4 of them out of the bowl because they have these little 1 ounce cups of it. So and it says take 1 per order, and I'm like, well, technically a beverage and a burrito qualifies for at least 2.
At least you haven't gone off the deep end where you're like putting it on the toilet seat of a men's restroom somewhere and snorting it.
Oh my God.
Then we'd hold
I
an
said-
intervention.
And so I said, it's gotten to the point to where, God help me, I'm taking them home so I can eat it with my Doritos.
God damn it, Mac.
And I'm like, first world petty crimes, am I right?
Taco Bell had good verde sauce, but they discontinued it.
Oh, we have another good taco shop here. It's not actually a taco shop. It's more of a tamale shop. It's called Tucson Tamale, and their tamales are great. I hate tamales. I love theirs, so that's saying something. But they have a fresh salsa bar, and so
Kinky.
I'm like tanking up on their salsa verde.
Just
Anyway,
like
not that
pouring out your cup and just flinging salsa into it.
ordering a beverage just so I can dunk it in the fucking salsa bar.
Oh God.
I'm like, I was gonna get that delectable RC cola that you jokers peddle, but I'm gonna get. Actually, I do like RC.
But instead, I want 30 ounces of your salsa, please.
Well, they only give out 16-ounce cups because they're bastards. But
Order
I
2
guess
drinks.
I won't be having anybody buy advertisement from them on my podcast now. But anyway, moving on. Sorry, that was a fun little tangent.
Isn't that what this show is based off of?
Sort of.
Strangely enough, we were based off of Rhombus originally, but
I was gonna try to follow that with a witty rejoinder, and it just left me.
The wit is dead. Congratulations.
happens sometimes. Even to the best of us.
Well, I held it back because I realized it wasn't very witty after all. Also, it didn't make sense. Moving on. Was that all you had, Petty Fan? Or
Yep.
I'm
good.
Okay. Alex, what's cooking?
Well, I'm getting pretty freaking sick out of 20-degree shifts day to day.
Hey.
It's like 50 degrees one day, 30 degrees the next day.
Hey, we got snow predicted for Friday, so
We had like 7 inches of snow last Saturday. It's mostly melted now because there have been like 350-degree days since then.
Wow.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's been oddly
Other-
temperate here in Tucson.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's been like raining a lot. Anyway, and I am kind of tired because not like physically tired, but mentally tired. There's a project I've been working on at work that thankfully we're almost done with, but not a ton of fun. In video game news, in between trying to find time to play games for the show, I'm also trying to find time to continue playing Hyrule Breath of the Wild because there's still a lot to do in that. It's a really
Like how you're
big
going
game.
to say Hyrule Warriors, but then you had to go
I
up.
was. Well, I want to get back to that, but
There's a
I've been-
lot of content in adventure mode.
there is, especially if you have any of the DLC.
I have all of it. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, without Jamie playing it with me, and the chances of me finishing that sometime before I turn 50 is becoming decreasingly likely.
Mhm.
Well, you got told tomorrow, I guess.
What the? You got to learn how to math, bro. You're about 10 years off.
He's calling you old.
Yeah, well, you're about 10. You're about 10 years early.
Anyway, hopefully I can get back on a schedule where I'm not staying late at work as often and I have more mental energy soon. So that'll be good.
Well, I'm hoping I don't get totally foobarred, but I may have to get job number 2 sooner rather than later. So,
Oh boy.
yeah.
Fun times.
Oh yeah, and my birthday is next Thursday, though that's really news for next week. But
All right. Okay. Ogre. Saving the best for last.
I had an optometrist appointment on Monday. Got to get a new pair of glasses there because my prescription's changed. Should be loads of fun. I say with as much sarcasm as I could throw in there. Let's see. That's kind of pretty much it for major news.
All
Just
right.
been pedaling along up until Stormblood comes out, but that's that. So.
Well, also something about teeth.
Oh yeah, I get my dentures next Friday.
Yay!
The journey's end.
Yeah.
No more gumming the food.
Yeah, especially when your front, like 7 of your front teeth are taken out.
Oh.
But you still have your bottom teeth to deal with, so never a fun time.
Yeah, sounds like you're having never a dull moment there.
Really makes eating certain foods annoying.
I think someone wants corn.
Well, yeah, we've got corn set up for when that goes out, so.
There you go.
That's pretty much it. Recordings are going fine as ever. Minus the fucking weather getting a little warmer, which is always fun. That's about it for me.
All right. Well, unlike our old show friend Smooth McGrew, my cat is not chill. Isn't that right, too?
Yep, there we go.
Cat attack.
His cat is. I was watching some of his videos the other day, and his cat is so chill that he could make his cat dance in the idle squares of his video. You know, where he's not
it lets
doing
him just
acapella.
hold her by the paws and do
crazy
back
stuff.
and forth dance. Yeah.
Yep. Doodles will not. I start doing that, and she bites me like she did just now.
She'll devour your soul.
It's like da cat update. Ah!
God, no, why?
Oh no, it's getting infected.
The blood, it won't stop.
Oh man. I'm contemplating doing a new thing to try to promote the YouTube channel and build up not only views but possible ad revenue. I'm thinking about doing a series of vlogs myself, a little differently than I did previously on the show. This will be more like me just having random ruminations.
Yeah, that's pretty popular on the YouTube these days.
Did Siri have a
Sorry,
stroke
sorry.
there for a second?
Yeah,
Siri
hi,
heard
Siri.
what I said there. Yeah, Siri heard what I said about random ruminations and decided to activate. And she says, "I don't understand what you're saying about random ruminations." Oh my god. But yeah, this would be commentary about stuff that I've seen and liked, stuff that I'm doing, talking about my experiences in filmmaking, but put a slightly more personal touch on it because my disembodied voice here in the podcast, while it is actually me, the viewer can't see me, which may be to our benefit. But the viewer can't see me, and a lot of people have been telling me that as part of pitch videos and stuff like that, that it would be best if the prospective clients actually see me, so that way they can connect with me directly. I'm like, all right, I'm down.
Yeah, don't forget to put make a goofy expression with a multicolored background because apparently that's the thing you have to do on YouTube these days.
Well, my little recording studio here is kind of interesting. What I was actually contemplating doing, just for shits and giggles, is reloading my old G4 Macintosh with 10.5. I have the version of iLife that came with my old Mac Mini, and it runs on this machine, and it works with my old Apple iSight. So I thought an amusing gimmick would be to record videos again using that particular camera and setup, so that way people could actually see my main recording studio behind me at all times. I thought it would be a more effective backdrop and really sell the idea that I'm actually doing radio broadcasting and acting and stuff. So it's an idea I'm toying with. Plus, iMovie allows you to throw in quick and simple graphics and stuff like that. So you record your video and then you put like, Michael C. Prokop host, that kind of thing, aka Mac Paladin, aka that douche,
AKA the scrub who makes videos sometimes.
aka the guy who keeps insisting we show up and doesn't pay us. .com.
I thought it was .org. Keep it free, man.
Oh yeah, there you go. .net.
Yes.
.co.
.XXX. Or is that later?
Or if we go with the current president, .ru. I don't know. I've tried this whole day in the life thing before, but I never really executed very well on it. Lighting was always poor, sound quality was shit. I wasn't really into it. Like now I have the ability to actually dub in audio. So instead of, it's like, oh, I'm playing the music in the background while I record it through my microphone, because that always signals quality. But yeah, I thought it would be more interesting because then I could have stuff like, various YouTube videos and other things that I'm watching in the background. Actually, I won't do YouTube videos in the background because that would be a strike. Either that or they'll just deny monetization. So never mind. Skip
Is that
that
a cat
part.
in your background? You can't monetize your video now.
You know what? Let me tell you something. I tried monetizing a video. Okay, so we were on the podcast one night, and this was when I was still in Alabama, and Doodles was what? This would have had to have been in April of 2012. So she would have been like 3 months old. And I recorded her scaling the wall, Jackie Chan style, and I put the podcast stuff on it, the logo type and some titling and stuff like that, because Adam was talking to a guest in the background. And I put it up for monetization, and they denied it because they said it had quote unquote dubious copyright nature. And so I sent a letter back to the YouTube team asking them precisely how in the world I'm supposed to prove that not only was this recorded in my own home, but that the audio playing in the background was my own podcast.
What part of this do I not own? Myself, my cat, my apartment, my voice, or my webcam?
Or my
And YouTube
podcast.
went, I don't care. Prove it, bitch.
Pretty much.
And
Well,
that's why advertisers are fleeing faster than the Bill O'Reilly show.
Wow.
And golf swing, and you've been a great show. You've been a great crowd, folks.
I'll just Ed McMahon laugh. Anyway. Jesus. So yeah, well, that would have been a step up if they'd have actually done that. If they'd have given me a double middle finger, but I didn't even get that. This whole thing is handled by robots anyway, so I mean, it's like getting an actual live person to review your case is damn near impossible. I mean, just look at the Nostalgia Critics video commentary on the whole thing when they had half their videos taken down.
Yeah, we had this conversation a bit earlier.
Yep. What's that, Adam?
Yeah, we talked about this. It's because, well, dealing with copyrights is an international thing.
Right. Very interesting.
And filthy Japanese people don't got the same laws that we'd have for parodies and the like.
God, Ogre, you said it on the air.
Yes, but I said it with a southern accent, so the South will be blamed.
God. We are literally in the era of post-facts, my friends.
Mm-hmm.
We are in the post-factual era of alternative facts.
Sweet. We can finally be a popular podcast and we can mean it.
Yeah, I mean, it worked for John.
That's the secret of why all the ukulele reviews are bad. Didn't have Jontron in it. 0 out of 10.
Oh, my God.
Like,
How could Rare deny our alt-right love?
This is some pretty choice commentary here.
Yeah. So do we need to change the graphic real quick to update with Mace before we continue?
Well, we're not.
I don't know. We're still in Mac's news section, so we haven't even
It's not.
started.
It's
the
not
actual
before
show.
midnight either.
It
It's
depends.
after midnight.
I was about to say, it depends on the time zone you're in.
It's a
Not-
branding issue. And no, that's not some kind of weird BDSM reference either.
It could be, though.
This is why we can't have nice things, guys.
We never could. What the hell are you talking about?
Well, I'm waiting for some lines of dialogue to be shipped over to me via email from one of our actors. The movie's actually moving along at a very steady pace. Last week, Keith and I had a production session on Friday and Saturday. Lasted about 4 hours apiece. And we actually managed to get, I would say, 80% of the footage for scene 1 done. Now it's mainly an issue of getting all of the dialogue recorded and, fixing the timing so that way the dialogue and the quasi-animation actually lines up with each other. So I'm pretty excited about that because it freed me up on Monday to talk with Alex and Nathan Bonner and get scene 2. There's 3 scenes in Act 1. And, well, actually, technically there's 4. But the sort of wrap up to commercial, so to speak, is part of scene 3. So it's really moving along at a really good clip. I basically was able to fulfill my obligations as project coordinator and get all of the individual assignments out in a timely fashion. Whereas before we were just kind of winging it. It's like, so what's our deadline? Well, it's kind of nebulous. It's a little bit amorphous. It's like healthcare. We didn't know how difficult it could be.
See, I don't even have to prod him, so I don't know why you people blame me for everything.
I've got a person, I won't name her, but I've got a person on my Facebook feed who is just going off every. I would say you could set your watch to it that every hour on the hour she's got something new to say about Trump.
I'm guessing it's not positive.
Generally, no. I'm sad to say that in my effort to expand my horizons and get some, just general conservative talent in my friends list, and tolerate the eccentricities, I believe would be the nice way of saying it. I'm not trying to get any alt-right people to be my friends. That would be crazy.
I'm about to say, you got to draw the line at Trump supporters. Otherwise, well, you're a friend with Trump supporters.
Yeah, I mean, most of my conservative friends are actually anti-Trump. I mean, they'd be, the rest of us as liberals would probably be like, all right, we'll take the lesser of two evils with Mike Pence, but if somehow he got impeached or whatever. But God, that's like being asked to choose between eating a steaming bowl of barf and a plate full of dried turds.
Well then,
It doesn't get any better down the list because
Yeah,
then it's
I
what
foresee in like the year 3000 there will be somehow a Futurama revival, and it'll be the head of Trump and the body of Mike Pence that'll be the president in the future there.
it'll be
Just to
zombie
kind of
Pence.
fully commit to that Richard Nixon-esque illusion there.
indeed.
Wow. Well, anyway, yeah, I had to weed a couple of extreme conservatives off my list. I made an effort. Some of them actually friended me, which I was like, all right, I'll give it a try. And then they started posting the memes.
will do it.
And then the memes came.
Well, it's like the one that actually made me dump this one guy was the one where they draw a mustache on Obama and call him didn't do nothing.
Now, are they the kind of crazy who thinks that taxation is theft?
See, that's the thing. Okay, now I'm gonna have to go on a libertarian rant on your ass. It is theft.
No, it is.
However, it is also the law. And until that you can find a judge that will agree with you that it is not the law, you got to abide by it.
Like, yeah, I'm like, that's a
Redistribution isn't theft necessarily, but whatever.
That's a viewpoint I wholly disagree with, and we could spend many hours debating it, but that's for another show.
I hate Final Fantasy II's level up system.
Everyone hates Final Fantasy II's level up system.
Hey, if I hit my own party members, everything will work out just fine.
Yep.
Fire
Daleks.
3. Whoops.
Guess what? I had to deal with that in Final Fantasy 11.
Really?
Yeah, you think you just got a level up and your skill and your weapon was just capped automatically? You had to earn that skill.
Yeah, I had to hit myself with cure and fire a couple of times. I remember that.
You're a white mage or a red mage, and one of your skills, your protect or enhancing skills are down. Guess what? Sit in town for a few hours and start casting protect or whatever on yourself.
Yeah, that sounds like good game design.
Anyway, economic policy.
I think we're still in news.
We're still in
No,
Max
I-
news.
Let me tell you where we are. We're still in tangent.
We've never
I mean,
left.
I covered most of the important stuff about the film and all that and all of that stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, so do you have any more actual news to cover, or you
Oh,
done?
that ship sailed forever ago. Now we're just talking about stuff and things,
It's off burning in the Pacific Ocean as we speak.
along with the island of garbage. No, that's not a metaphor.
Or some
Yeah.
sexual innuendo.
I mean,
No,
unless you're talking,
I was gonna go for a
talking,
Mar-a-Lago thing, but
I mean, unless you're talking about the the east coast of Hawaii when it barfs up on the shore, but no. That's not- oh man, so much going on in the world today. It's not even funny.
Excuse me.
It can be hard to keep up.
Yep.
Right. Looks like you kind of lot of steam there.
Yeah, I didn't have much to go on, to be honest with you. I was trying to think.
did Mac
Did
finally
I-
get Steam or
See, now I'm confused by the reference.
the platform Steam?
Oh no, that would actually require that I have money and time. I mean, Jesus Christ, I didn't even start this show on time.
Can't even get done with the news without actually going into actual topics.
Well, we are in the topics. It's just
Do we have a topic?
What's this about the tropics?
the topic is very
Yes.
topic.
What about Star Topics?
Purple
You know,
monkey dishwasher.
It's one of those things. It's one of those things to where, as tired as I am of seeing people comment on Donald Trump, I keep asking myself, at what point? At what point is it finally enough, even for Republicans?
When you see
I mean-
a gallows randomly erected at the White House.
I kind of like Robert Reich's video about it. It was kind of funny. They showed a couple of people standing outside the White House fence, and it shows a box that has a red and green button, and the red one says to impeach, and the green one says not to impeach. They press it, and a hand reaches down and grabs an animated Donald Trump and pulls him out of the Oval Office and drops him outside the White House fence. That was pretty hilarious. And I was thinking to myself, I just got to ask myself, at what point is it enough at what point is it enough for the entire country? At what do we have to do? And I realize some inherent flaws with our constitutional democracy, our constitutional republic, I should say, that a lot of Western European democracies have kind of sort of figured out. And we're kind of stuck here because I think one of the big problems is the whole amendment process. In order to fundamentally change our constitution and speed things up to match with the times, requires such a monumental effort. And our politicians tend to use the Constitution very mercurially
Mm-hmm.
as either a hamstring or a convenience.
The system was designed so the Constitution could be changed, but that it would be really, really hard so that basically it would only ever happen once everybody had already basically agreed on a thing.
Well, it's also I think people are having problems with time perception because Trump's not been around that long. Like,
But sometimes it feels like he's been around too long.
He has
Already.
been around too long.
yeah,
Go ahead.
that's another. But I'm like, in terms of objective time, he's he hasn't even crossed 100 days yet.
I
Like,
know, but how much damage does he have to do? The time period is irrelevant.
No, it's not. In fact, it's one of the most relevant things because as time goes on, the more people will get sick of him. Like, I can't stress this enough. Like, people are wondering why, like, Donald Trump supporters, having gotten dissatisfied with him. That not enough time has passed. Like, he hasn't, you know, he hasn't failed enough. It's like the investigations aren't far along enough, and so on and so forth. Like, he's actually, like, in real terms, he's actually been descending very quickly in terms of politics. Like, his poll numbers, we've like a president has never seen these kind of shitty poll numbers before.
At least not this early.
No, 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 and keep in mind, this is with really nothing going on. Like, there's no major crisis. There's no major
Yeah.
entanglement. This is
Well, there is the missiles being shot out of North Korea and the ongoing conflict in Syria and the damn near
yeah, but
World War III inciting situation going on in the South China Sea.
let's be honest. Americans don't give a shit about that.
I get that.
It's like, yeah, there are real things going on there, but they're really far away. And yeah, it's like people are just not wired to care about that shit. Like, so I'm talking about, there's no major crisis here, and the economy is doing,
pretty damn well all of a sudden.
yeah, so he's doing he's doing really, really terribly this far, this close out the gates. And keep in mind, the real reason why we're still dealing with Donald Trump is because he's being propped up by the Republican Party. Because the Republican Party controls Congress. You know, they're not going to move to impeach them until absolutely necessary.
Unless he extremely fucks up.
It seems like, but go ahead.
And here's the thing that's happening right now because, in the fallout, in the failure to pass the HCHA, he's going after the Freedom Caucus.
Stupid move, friend. Stupid move.
Yeah, it's like, so because Donald Trump doesn't have any loyalty to the Republican Party, the only loyalty he has is to himself. So,
right.
He's totally like, yeah, he's gonna throw these people under the fucking bus, if it's convenient, and that's the shit that's really gonna start, like real fireworks, when the Republican Party descends into civil war because they can't get any of their agenda passed, and it's not
Which,
just
amusingly, I should point out,
mm-hmm.
all of the successes so far and all of the failures so far really have nothing to do with Donald Trump. The successes are all things that were initiated during Obama's last years in office. These are all things that he predicted that if we let them stay the course would actually bring qualitative, quantitative, positive action. And that's what's happening for anything that's going right. And anything that's going wrong is more to do with Republican infighting than it is to do with any direct influence of Donald Trump. I mean, he's just kind of at the eye of the storm right now.
Well, except for things like the travel ban. I mean, that
was a clusterfuck.
Yeah, well, that's totally on him because that was an EEO. But yeah, it's like, well, it's not just the failure of the ACHA, but because that collapsed, that's cascading to everything else. That goes into tax reform, that goes into infrastructure, that goes into whatever else that they're looking to fight about. Especially, the tax quote unquote reform. Read more tax cuts for rich people. Yeah, because they were predicating okay, so here's how this was supposed to work. Both the healthcare repeal and the tax reform were supposed to be done under what's called reconciliation. Yeah, for those who don't know, reconciliation is a way in which Congress can pass stuff with a simple majority. It's stuff that works its way through the Senate, the House, and then they literally reconcile that.
This didn't used to be as important.
To put a fine point on that, they can only do so on budgetary concerns.
Right. That's why the HCHA was being entered as a budgetary thing.
This didn't used to be that important, but ever since they decided that everything gets filibustered, that's the only way to get stuff passed.
Well, between Harry Reid and Mitch McConnell, they actually rescinded portions of the filibuster rule for political expedience and convenience.
Oh, more on that in a bit, because that's about to be blown up tomorrow. But getting back to what I was saying, so in order for this stuff to be passed, they had to be what is called revenue neutral or budgetary neutral, some term like that. They had to take care of like the deficits. Now, I'm sketchy on the details, but the point is it had to be done a certain way. And because the HCHA got exploded here, a lot of that was tied to the tax cuts they had planned. And more to the point, the reason why they were pushing for the healthcare stuff so quickly is because there was a timer on it. They had to get it passed by April 15th. The reason being is because that's when the end of the governmental fiscal year happens.
Right.
And thus, after that date, it moves into the next year. And they can't do this until 2018. And when 2018 hits, that's midterms. So if stuff was hard to pass beforehand, it's not passing in in an election year.
Right.
Yeah. So they had a very narrow window to do a lot of this stuff, and it's kind of all passed by, and they were trying to revive the HCA repeal stuff a couple days ago, but that went nowhere because they're like, the Republican Party is at a fundamental impasse in the House. The Freedom Caucus has enough power to stop shit, but you can't placate them and the moderates at the same time. It's just not a thing that happens. Because the Freedom Caucus, they're true believers. Yeah. They're ones who aren't really going to accept compromise, and this is going to be a problem down the line. It's fine right now when it's stopping evil Republican things, but like October, the debt ceiling has to be raised again. And remember how politicized that became?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's probably not going to change. Hell, they're going to have a budgetary battle this month in order to fund the government.
It's kind of weird because even among the Republicans, there are probably a significant number who don't actually care about that, and we're just using that as a bludgeon. But there are some people who do really care, and that will probably become a problem.
Well, I mean, they're looking at a partial government shutdown. You've also got to understand that shit's building up on itself. It's like it's another loss upon another loss. And right now the Republican Party, whatever their views are, they're looking like a bunch of amateurs because they have all the power, and yet they have none of the power. They
tend not to know what to do with it because their only goal is to win, not to actually govern.
Yeah,
Paul, literal quote, "We didn't realize that being the party in charge would be so much more difficult, Ryan."
Yeah, I'm like, it's like, keep in mind, 8 years of obstruction. They've literally forgotten how to govern. not to mention, who we have as a president, and yeah, it's no wonder they can't get shit done.
Apparently, and I heard this from another part. I'll have to go look up the source and all that stuff of who actually said this. But apparently, a Republican senator, it may have been Rand Paul, based on how this person was described vehemently by one of my much more left friends, proposed the idea that they table, like we're talking about obstruction right now. So you've got Supreme Court nominees. So they said, so this esteemed gentleman suggested that they table Neil Gorsuch as the Supreme Court nominee and reintroduce Merrick Garland, which is unprecedented. They said put him in there as a compromise and then allow the renomination of Gorsuch when the next seat becomes available after that. They said that this would be a compromise idea, and it's like, except for the fact that you're not going to get any traction on that from the hard left or the hard right.
Yeah, I'm like, speaking of which, yeah, that comes to a head tomorrow, because the cloture vote is tomorrow, and Dems have secured enough votes for a filibuster, and it's expected that Gorsuch is not going to be able to clear 60. So that's where the nuclear option is coming in. Like McConnell's threatening to destroy the filibuster for Supreme Court nominees.
Is that even? I have to wonder. Is that even technically possible? Because
yes, it is.
Because the Constitution is very, very specific on the fact that there is to be no limit on debate in the Senate.
I'm like,
that's where Senate rules come in.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, apparently he can do this because, it's been threatened. Like, it's like it's been said that if the Dems filibuster, he's gonna push the button, and and so what happens is, if this happens, not only is the filibuster gone, but Supreme Court justices will no longer need 60 votes. They'll need 51, a simple majority. And once this is done, it's permanent. It's like what Harry Reid did in 2013. Once that's why it's called the nuclear option. It's like once you do this, there's no going back. And the reason why everyone doesn't want to do this is because, okay, so you get your guy in now, but what happens, like when the next Supreme Court justice dies, retires, whatever's, it's like, some people are like expecting Ginsburg to retire or croak, within the next 4 years, but it could be a little later.
She is really old.
Yeah.
She's like 81, 82 or something like that.
Yeah. The point of order is, what happens if that if that happens in, say, 2021 and everything's flipped around, and it just in general, with a simple majority, it means even more partisan nominees are probably going to get through. It's like, or underqualified nominees.
Well, yeah. Well, like, the hell was her name who got ejected in 2005?
Yeah, Harriet Miers, or
right.
Yeah, she was actually brought up as an example because she was actually rejected by Republicans for not just, I think, being pro-choice, but also because she lacked experience.
Which is not actually required, but...
No, it's not actually required, but...
It's a good thing to have. Yeah, it's a good thing to have.
Yeah.
It's like, governmental experience isn't actually required to hold governmental office. I mean...
judicial experience isn't required to be on the Supreme Court.
Yeah, you don't even need to be a justice or a lawyer to be on the Supreme Court. You just need to be nominated.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
I think there's a misperception on the part of the public. See, since the time of the founding fathers, politics around the world has become infinitely more intertwined and infinitely more complex. And it keeps growing because as a species, we're becoming much more interdependent on each other. This is where I break with libertarians. I have no problem with the so-called globalist agenda because honestly, we are really all one people in the end. Country lines and borders and stuff like that serve to divide us. I feel are only rampant nationalism and insistence on cultural identity are quite frankly, I think they're Moors from a bygone era, and that if we really want to achieve as a species, we need to start working together. That's my really basic version of it.
Yeah.
But what I was getting at is there's the point what I was going to get at before we go too deep into the rabbit hole is that there's this misperception on the part of the public that just one guy can come in with a giant magical pair of scissors and cut through all the red tape, and that's why we need citizen politicians who don't know shit about anything so that they're not encumbered by the complexities of office. And it's like we're finding
that doesn't actually work very well most of the time.
Exactly. We're finding that that's idiocy, that's lunacy. You were going to say, Adam?
Yeah.
I mean, just look at our idiot lunatic.
You're not Adam.
Sorry.
As I was saying, yeah, it's like the isolationist perspective is a thought process from a bygone era. That's just not a thing that fucking happens anymore. Hell, Mr. America First learned that fucking today or yesterday when Syria used gas to kill 100 people, and even the dipshit could kind of figured out, oh hey, what our actual role on the world stage is, and guess what? That's not fucking changing. And even if it did, guess what? Somebody else is gonna fill the void. It's like you're not changing the global economy. You're not changing globalization. It's just not a thing that's happening. It's like if we don't want to do it, then you know what? China is, Russia is. Somebody else is going to want to do that.
The old axiom that we're reaching for here is nature abhors a vacuum.
Pretty much. It's like, it just doesn't happen. The world is too connected, as you said, not just in terms of say trade, but communication and just everything now.
I have great concerns. Everybody was like, "Oh, Brexit could be a great thing," and they're finally taking back their sovereignty from the European Union, and I'm like, that was the point when I unfollowed Daniel Hannan from the UK, was when they started talking about this. I said, you do realize that you just shut Britain off from basically the rest of the world, because we all have to deal with the European Union and they all have to deal with us.
And it's not even going to save them any of the money on regulations and shit, really, because they still have to abide by the EU's regulations whenever they're doing trade with the EU, which, let's be honest, is their closest trading partner.
Every single benefit that they spoon-fed the public was a bald-faced fucking lie.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, I don't see any way, shape, or form, besides a bunch of rich nationalists getting their way and throwing a temper tantrum in the streets, that this benefits anyone in the UK. And it may not be so U of a K for much longer because of that shit.
Yeah, when Scotland voted the thing, the reason why they voted to stay was so they could stay in the EU.
Well,
at least half.
if you watch anything about international politics, Nicola Sturgeon's clock is running out on getting Scotland out of the UK, and her time on the stage is also fading.
Hmm. No, I'm just saying they were really pissed at the whole Brexit thing.
They're pissed about it, but the thing is that Scotland is not going to be able to get away with going it alone. It's just all roads lead to the untenable.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's also, guess what? The EU is probably going to make an example out of the UK.
They actually said they're not, because it would be more difficult for them to try to fuck with the UK. They're not going to give them any special treatment, but making things harder on Britain. The president of the EU said very, very directly that Brexit itself is enough punishment for the UK.
Yeah, we'll see.
He said they're going to find out just how hard it is. They said, so we're not going to go out of our way to stymie any efforts to create new treaties and all that stuff, because it would actually make the burden harder. And here's another thought on that, because all they're doing is because petulance would feed nationalism in other countries, and they're in danger of losing. They're in danger of losing France and Germany, and if that happens, then the EU is fucked, and there may be big problems with NATO.
Yeah, actually, France and Germany are kind of turning the corner. Honestly, I think Trump winning kind of, ironically, took the wind out of the sails of the populist movement. Because yeah, it's like, granted,
okay, so well, yeah, because it's kind of like a science experiment. They're watching to see what happens over here, so they can say, well, what if we do the same thing? Oh, that's not such a hot idea. Clearly, these people have no idea what's going on.
It's also, the idea of it can't happen here has kind of been shattered.
Right.
Guys, we can really get in with this populist boat. It's run on coal. This is just a lump of shit.
Yeah, the funniest thing I saw was the commentary. They said so Trump is sitting here placating an industry that has roughly 65,000 workers, so that way he could basically dismantle an industry that has over 2.7 million jobs created by it. They said this makes no fucking sense that he's kowtowing to a bunch of people whose entire livelihood is obsolete.
I didn't find anything.
Shut up,
Sorry
Siri.
about that.
Because well, guess who voted for Trump in droves? These fucking morons.
The Rust Belt. But it's funny. It's like, guys, these antiquated.
Oh no!
These antiquated, no education required, work for 30 years or until you drop dead, whichever comes first, jobs, and then live off of your meager retirement. That part of the American dream does not exist anymore.
Oh no! I'm like, and it's gonna continue to even more not exist, because, well, like in terms of coal, not only is coal not coming back, Trump and the Republicans are not stopping renewables. Like, renewables are getting cheaper, more efficient, and
he campaigned on that whole. We're going to take down the windmills, and Texas was like, no, you're not.
No, yeah.
When Texas says no to your alternative to green energy plan, you done goofed, son. That's my thoughts on the subject. Is when oil-rich Texas says, no, we're going to keep our green energy program. Like, the states are now scrambling to protect all of their newfound industries that are bringing in billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah, it's like
Arizona's doubling down on solar right now.
Yeah, and it's like manufacturing jobs. We actually manufacture more shit than we ever did. It's just the type of manufacturing we do has changed. we do high quality manufacturing. The manufacturing of old, yeah, that all got outsourced. That all
And
got,
the other myth that's being shattered is the idea that quote unquote filthy immigrants are taking your jobs. Well, no, actually they're not, unless you're talking about importing machinery to replace human beings.
no. It's like no, the immigrants are doing the jobs that white people don't want to do. Like, just ask Georgia how this worked out. I think,
Yeah, who's picking your peaches?
yeah, it's like the answer is prisoners. Like when they got rid of all the immigrants, oh shit, there wasn't anybody left to pick the fruit. So it all literally died on the vine, cost them billions of dollars. So they had to bust prisoners in to pick that shit in. And guess what? It still isn't enough to fill the void. You know, that
Yeah, because running for-profit prisons is actually more expensive than hiring illegal labor.
yeah.
It's such an irony. This is, I used this expression a few times before on the show, but when you say that someone is hoist upon their own petard, this is the textbook definition of that situation.
Yeah.
We're gonna gain power by fleecing the public. That's basically what that was their long-term strategy was. We're gonna keep the fleecing game going as long as we possibly can. And unfortunately now the lights are shining and the emperor has no clothes. So to mix a whole bunch of metaphors into a giant cauldron there.
Right. Anyway, it's about 12:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
That was
Well,
well,
yeah, this is why we're trying to launch a political show because, well, we can talk about this shit for hours.
But
Yeah.
then what'll happen to Moonhawk Studios Presents?
Like,
it'll be a show that requires actual quality content.
Well, by then we should have
Shit.
guests at a regular basis.
Yeah, get on
We
that.
can hope anyway.
I'll do my best.
All right. Well, as always, guys, good talk. I'm a big fan of spirited debate because it helps me learn new things.
Mac, you smell funny.
Fuck you.
There we go. That's a debate.
That was not a debate. That was more of a straw man attack.
Hush.
Excuse me, an ad hominem attack. I gotta get my terms correct here.
What does Full Metal Alchemist have to do with this?
I'm sure someone will explain the joke to me in the post.
Probably.
Old man. Anyway. All right. Well, on behalf of the crew at Moonhawk Studios Presents, I'm Mac Paladin saying that, we enjoyed having you here. And wow, I just fucked up my closing byline there. Thanks for listening and stay safe out there, kids. Shit.